Hey folks, welcome back to video number 13. This one is going to be a little bit different than, painting custom PC or building a custom PC. I'm going to be going over my configuration and what I feel like would be pretty important to kind of have a grasp of, both on AMD or Intel based systems. So I actually was doing some Y country. I just wanted to kind of get a few runs going so you guys can understand the gravity of what I mean when I say stable. Like, I'm recording right now. I don't know if some of the subs were following, but unfortunately the 5950X kicked the bucket during, the system went down for about 100 days as I was doing other things and acquiring parts and waiting for paint to cure and so on and so forth. So usually the CPU just comes out and just kind of sits there until it goes back. You would think like the motherboard would die, if anything, because I painted the motherboard, but no. CPU kicked the bucket after 5 years, so I had to kind of get like something comparable. So I mean it's not really comparable, but I had to get what was in the budget, I would say. So I got a 5700G versus a 5950X, but really healthy. I would say really healthy chip. Definitely a silicon winner for the most part, like low frequency at 4.5 or 4850, around 250 megahertz over the single core. I think it's 4.6 for the single core boost for this chip, and then the base is 3.8. So we're doing really healthy numbers here. If you look at my hardware info here on the bottom, I was able to lock down. I mean, it's not the fastest tune, like 4016. 4000 mega transfer C16. Is not faster than 3800 C14, which is what it can do. But I just wanted to see what the IF can do, and it's a pretty healthy IF. It can do too. I mean, it's a monolith die, so AMD's monolith dies were known to hit pretty stable clocks, and this is for daily, in a benchmark kind of situation, or for like a tune mode, as I like to call it. You could definitely take it up to like 47 mega transfers. I've seen some folks take it up to like 48 mega transfers. It's definitely possible, not for a daily run, but just for like a benchmark and for whatever, for a particular, let's say like Y Cruncher. But and not this Y Cruncher. I mean like Y Cruncher from Benchmate, the one where you can toss in a score, where it calculates pi. But yeah, I mean, this is a 65 watt part. I just thought this part is very important. We will get right to the emulation part. But I've had about 20 requests. I remember when I had my Reddit account, where when I was really active on Reddit, I had a lot of folks message me because I did it like a 5-minute clip of me playing God of War. The recommendation on the website, aside which we go through, it's definitely important to have a very stable system. Like, it's a 65 part chip, and we're pushing around. If you want to, where's my magnifying glass here? I'm just going to zoom into here. So like a CPU, we're at 134 watts. This is max, of course. So we're average around 107, but that's my point. It's a 65 watt part. So if you tune it just correctly, you can definitely get your money's worth, I would say, out of it. When it comes to cooling, this has been running for about 40 minutes, so I didn't just like turn it on and start giving you guys numbers. I know some folks do that. I don't want to say anything. It's not accurate, so don't do that. Let it at least achieve some sort of sustained thresh, and then start sharing your numbers is what I would say. But yeah, very healthy numbers on the GPU. We got about again, running Y Country. It gets really beefy, especially with like FTT and VT3. So 79C max and 71 for average. I mean, we have liquid metal on the die running beautifully, so it's doing its job there. Let's zoom out here. But yeah, that's just overall. If anyone's interested in this hardware info config, I can just dump the export file. Like, I can just go to settings. Like, I'm just gonna stop the. I was just trying to make a point with this. As soon as we hit FF3, the system's gonna slow down by a lot. So I'm just gonna stop it here. But I just wanted to make a point. That was it. I'm just gonna close this for now. Once I learn how to type in close or exit. There we go. But yeah, sorry, I digress. Back to this. If anyone needs this, I can just back up the settings and give you guys the reg file. But that's the overall premise. 5700G, really stable, well-tuned memory. It's not again. I just wanted to see if the IF can do 2000. But I wouldn't say this is the fastest. 3800 C14. if I'm not correct, or I think I am correct. So hang on. Right, yeah. So 271. I think what I think it comes up like 250, right? 4,000 C16. Yeah. So you know it's not faster, but you know it definitely looks better. It's a better number 4,000 than 3,800. But yeah. Anyways, that's yeah. I'm sure I'll get some flack on that in the comments because it's all about performance, and I'm not running the fastest timing. But again, I would say that I can run 3,800 mega transfer C14 if I wanted to. But I digress. I'll timestamp this so you guys. I mean, it's very important you guys don't skip over this. But yeah, it's very important you don't get any WHA errors. I have all the most important. Like I have about I have 67 items hidden. Those are the ones that I think I like. They're not that important, at least for this particular config. But yeah, I have all the important ones that you need. PPT, TTC, EDC, all your for Zen 3, the SVI2 interface is the most accurate one that you can get. So you definitely want to make sure like your VGroup is working correctly. You want to make sure like see like I'm pushing it. It's BDAS, so it's rated at 1.5. So doing 1.6 volts is absolutely fine for this particular kit. And yeah, I mean very healthy numbers through the Zen. And I'm not trying to be like a builds or anything like that. You know, if you guys want, I can do a comprehensive like, hey, here's how to set up your hardware info for the best, because in my opinion is the best at the software reading can give you. But yeah, the best cores for me are 0 and the second best core is 7. So as you can see, that kind of is represented here. Just let me minimize this. It's kind of represented here, or did I shut out the magnifying glass? No, it's right here. Let's come down here. As you can see, you know, the core 0, yep, 4825, and then the it's the 6th core, but it's technically the 7th core because it starts at 0. That you guys know that, so I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, so it's 4850. So very healthy. In all cores, I mean, yeah, with regards to all core average, it's also very healthy. And I mean, I made sure there's no clock stretching going on here. I mean, you can definitely take the whatever is posted here and whatever you have here with the current. If there's a big delta of anything, I would say more than maybe 25 to 50 megahertz, even 100, anything more than that, then you're clock stretching. That's my understanding. You guys can feel free to kind of correct me in the comments or what have you. But yeah, very healthy numbers. The system has been up for about 44 minutes. I was benching it, and now I'm recording on it. And now we're going to be, you know, I would say RPC3 is the, sorry, I'm just going to minimize this guy here, and let's minimize this guy here as well. I would say RPC3 is one of the most annoying emulators to run. It's because it's very intensive, right? So I haven't run it in a few days, so let's go ahead and update it. Excuse me. And oh, am I not? Yeah, folks, sorry. It's I don't run the games native, I guess. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, let's do some. This is just this is why I don't. This is why I only use Windows for just for gaming, because it's very annoying. So disconnect network drives. I think that's the one where it just kind of wipes it. Yeah, there we go. It kind of wipes everything, because it's with Windows, when you get that stuck, you gotta go to the registry, and then you gotta yada yada. And I should probably just build an entire script for this so it does both in one go. But yeah, it's here. So yeah, this is where actually all the games come from. So let's go ahead and close and reopen, and it should pull. Yeah, there we go. Here's the games. I would say, sorry, I digress. Sorry for that. It's good to live troubleshoot, and we'll go through that. I'll show you guys some good habits that I haven't seen on the RPC. Because they have a YouTube channel, I recommend you check them out. Give a lot of credit to these guys. Again, this is not like a how to install RPC and how to set that up. I'll link that below. There's a lot of good guides on how to do that. This is just, again, I bring value to the community. I'm just trying to supplement what a lot of folks have issues with, just a bit more, you know, I would say niche or nitty gritty, as they say. So while we're doing this, let's actually pull up Edge here because it's good to kind of go over this. Now I have this bookmarked. I'll link this below as well, their compatibility list. If you were to do it from scratch, you would just go to just RPC3, just type that in. Go ahead and, yep, you understand all that good stuff, and you would just essentially come here, and as you can see, they have their YouTube channel, their Discord. Highly recommend you join them. In fact, I should probably join them as well. I'm a bit issues like kind of like getting into crowds and stuff like that, so I kind of struggle with that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of hesitant to kind of join anything these days. But yeah, I definitely could recommend. They have a great community, I'm sure of it. Definitely recommend you check them out. But yeah, let's go to compatibility here, and you'll see, like, you know, for the most part, they have a very big library of playable games, massive, I would say. And you can see that it is, you know, loadable and intro and in game is very, like, there's more playable than not playable, and this list is getting bigger and bigger by the second. So if you care for this kind of stuff, if you want to kind of show support, you know, just supporting them in kind of way, a few buck here and there definitely goes a while for these kind of endeavors, because it's all open source, it's all community. It's all a lot of time basically. So we'll leave it at that. Let's go back to the compatibility list. You can just kind of go to G here, or you can just Control F and then just .org, and same thing will happen. So let's come here, and you'll notice there's some similarities here that you'll kind of see on the screen as I'm going along, but there's a lot of options that it also doesn't really tell you about. One thing that's good to mention here is, I mean, it's a little bit of work. I guess it's all about passion, right? If you want to play these games, as you probably grew up with them, is most likely, or that's what I assume. So if you look at here, like it does say, like, hey, just letting you know, it's, you know what I mean, it's playable, but on a good, they should say good CPU and a good config. This is what they don't add here. I'm not sure if they'll watch this, but it just say good configuration, good system stability. It's very, very key as well. They do talk about the 2 issues here. It's good to know these issues so that, you know, when you're playing them, you don't kind of get bummed out, or like, you don't get upset if you go through them. But yeah, let's go through these here. You'll notice each of them have these little signs here back on the RPC side. I basically run most things with custom config, just for testing, or I'm just kind of trying to see what I can kind of break, or what doesn't break basically. Let's go ahead and take a look at the God of War here. Let's go to custom config. The LLVM for recompiler, both on the PPU side and the SPU side, that, I mean, you don't really change that for the most part. They don't mention it here because I think that's stock, and for the most part it remains stock. For the most part, everything here is stock. I think this comes on auto and this comes on safe. And, you know, feel free to correct me on that, because like it's been a while since I've installed this. I don't really reinstall things for the most part. Play around with this, especially the SPU, CPU dependent. If Giga works for you, like if you see, like, hey, you know what, yeah, like that, like for in my testing when I was doing it with the 5950X, I actually didn't notice a difference. And that might not mean much to you because you're like, well, what's your testing methodology? And that's, again, I've said this in other videos, I need to do a video where I explain, like, hey, this is kind of where I learned how to do A, B, and C. Here's my mentors, my gurus, so on and so forth. Like the stuff that Gamers Nexus is doing is stuff that I've been doing for like 5 years, 6 years. They just, I've been doing it for a while now. I have been doing it in the dark though, not in the public. So I know, like, in the public, they're the pioneers of that kind of test, like that kind of particular test methodology. But I've been doing that kind of stuff for, like, I'm in private Discord server. I'm not the only one. There's many folks that are like far surpassed Gamers Nexus. Because I hold them into, like, because they're in the public. I hold them as a standard for testing, because they have a public methodology piece. It's something that you can replicate. It's something that you can work with. It's something that you can critique. So that's like, it's kind of like a scientific community kind of approach. So that's why, like, I hold them in high regards because of the way that they move for the consumer. And their channel is one of the reasons why I started mine. A bit more niche, of course. Mine is a bit more, I'm trying to be how-to style and entertainment. But I would definitely like to start the educational videos. I don't know if anyone's interested in me rambling on. But anyways, I digress again. This is why we need to edit. But yeah, so keep it at mega is what I've noted about. This was for So with the 5950X, I was in Giga, but in testing for the 5700G, I'm keeping it at Mega. For the SPU threads, again, keep it at. This is fairly safe to keep it at like the max, like or like if it's 12 in case of my last CPU, then keep it at 12. This one is fairly. You'll have to play around with it. You may not notice a difference. You may notice some. You may notice a performance hit. For the most part, if you have a especially if you have like a Windows Pro for workstation, where it has a really optimized CPU scheduler, and you might have like your own third party software. You may have like written something for like core parks or for to kind of just like basically like infinity threads, like kind of because sometimes the infinity like it works in Windows, but it's kind of finicky from as far as I've tested it. Anyways, you can set it, but it doesn't work all the time. So having third party software definitely helps in those kind of areas. But yeah, but thread scheduler, keep it an operating system. Well, that's kind of what I've seen in testing. Everything that I'm talking about here, I've done it in testing. I don't really have like a rule book or, um, yeah, basically I'm just kind of going from what I had in the past. Approximate is just fine. Again, play around with this. It might be accurate, might be better for you, within regards to pointing your mouse at like an option or something like that. But like I'm using the controller, so it's like you know what I mean. I don't really, yeah. So keep it at that. The GPUs were really this option, or the left side, like their Wiki will come into play. So 60 frames. Yep, we've locked down at 60 frames. Vulkan for the like I've noticed some of the more demanding games. Vulkan is the way to go. Again, play around with this. Like I mean, especially if you have AMD, Vulkan then is definitely going to be the one. But yeah, on NVIDIA, OpenGL kind of gives troubles for the most part. I just have to keep it at Vulkan. Doesn't give me any kind of trouble. No 3D support because I'm not using any shaded or ultra. Again, keep everything kind of in the middle. Approximate, just fast. Anisotropic filtering at 16. Anti-aliasing, you don't have an option for this. It's just like either disable or auto. So there you go. So there's that. And then resolution scaling. We're just kind of going by what they recommend and what I've seen based on performance. So I'm doing 720p as a base, and then I'm doing like a DSR as resolution scaling to 1440p. If you have a better GPU, hey, you can kind of crank this to 4K. But this is the only game that I need to run it in 1440p. It can't do 2160p. Like I run Sly Cooper and all the other games in 4K or 2160p. But this is the game. It's very demanding, right? And then for the threshold, for like resolution threshold, 161, or they recommend 160 by 160. Doesn't really matter. You can do like 162 by 162. That's also fine as well. And then right color buffers. They're on the additional settings here. Red color buffers, multi-thread RSX, and asynchronous texture streaming. I think they have this one there. Yeah, they have this option there. So you want to also enable this guy as well. For the shred data, again, play around with this. Let me know if I've noticed the async is the best option. But if you notice something different, you'd like to share in the comments with the folks that are going to probably, I hope, look this up and kind of watch this and start getting into this type of stuff. I hope this helps them get better acquainted, because they're going to come to a game where it's going to be really difficult. And usually when you get to something hard, is usually when you learn something more about the situation or about set act or whatever. But audio is the same. You'll come into here for testing. Like sometimes you'll disable audio, the game will play butter smooth. You'll enable audio, it's all choppy, so you'll kind of know like, okay, that's kind of like my troubleshooting starting point is audio. Then you can kind of mess around and go from there. For the most part, I don't really touch this. I/O, yep, as you can see, it's all default. Don't touch anything there. System, same thing. I don't do anything with networking. And then advanced is you'll have to excuse me, folks, because it's been a while. I don't remember if I've enabled here anything additionally. I think accurate DFMA, because again it forces the RSX, but like I'm not sure if my understanding of that is accurate, A, or and B, if that was already checked like when I install. It's been so long, and like I said again, I haven't. I'll have to do a fresh install. But yeah, again, this is not like an install RPC and dump your PC dump your PS3 BIOS and how to like export games, like how to turn your discs into ISOs and so on. There's plenty of guides. There's fantastic guides on that out there already. This is specifically on God of War 3, and I'll show some gameplay here in just a moment. But that's basically that. Again, all stock here. I haven't changed anything, as you can see. It's all basic. It's all basic here. Nothing has been changed. So that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and exit. To give you kind of like a here, I'll give you guys kind of like a contrast. As you can see, like I'm running Sly, one of my all-time favorite PS3 games, and yeah, as you can see, 4K, no, no problem. It plays butter smooth. The last thing that I want to cover here is the game patch. And it's on the bottom. Here's a recommendation game patch. Follow it. That's all I gotta say about that. You might sometimes use a game patch and it might be detrimental. That's just like that's your own testing. You know, you have to just kind of do your own due diligence. But yeah, for me, for the most part, if it says do it, oh, I do it, and you know I haven't noticed any kind of issues. But yeah, like disable SPU. So basically, it's the MLLA for both SPU and non-SPU. So I've disabled both, and then skip any videos with the X button and the skip intro. So you can do more if you want, like play around. Like, hey, who knows? Like, play depth of field, disable it if you want to. You know, layer fox for speed boosts, disable color grading for speed boosts, so on and so forth. Let's do it. I'm gonna, cause like I already know the kind of performance that I'm gonna be getting with you. Actually, no. I'll just show this. I don't want to muddy the waters here. No, I should not do that. So I've kept it at this. Let's go ahead and save it. But yeah, that's again. I'll link this below. But it's good to kind of get into this habit. You know, if you know, expand the patches, they'll kind of tell you. I'll give you a history of everything. It's good to just kind of get into the habit of doing this. And then, like I said, back on the website, they also have like a GitHub. If you want to fork any other repos, definitely do so. If you want to give them a few bucks, definitely do so. You can even run this in Docker mode and then put a front end on it. Stay tuned for that. I actually have a cool video on how to do that. Essentially, like imagine your own Netflix. Imagine like Plex. I'm sure you guys all heard of Plex. Imagine your own Plex, but it's like for games. You know what I mean? Like it's a very cool thing to do. So that's a video for down the road. I just again, a lot of folks asked for this even before I had the YouTube channel. So that's why I'm doing this. But yeah, anyways, that's besides. So that's about them. Again, if you like them, I love these guys. Again, support them. If you want to support them with any kind of donations, definitely do so. I'm sure they would be appreciated. This is usually the part where I would show where the donation part of that. Do they not have a Patreon? I thought they had a Patreon. So hang on, let me go to about here. This is the part where I look bad. This is the part where I look bad, I guess. Huh. Interesting. Sorry, folks, just bear with me here. We're doing this live because I just wanna. I guess not. Again, if you guys find their donation page, let me know. I will look for it after this video and I will try to put it in the link below, but I am not seeing anything. And I don't want to make this into, oh Jesus, that's right. Sorry, 24 minutes long. Okay. That's fine. I'm just gonna quick I might just do like some cut-ins of the gameplays. I won't do the entire like let's play God of War and show God of War for like 30 minutes. I know people will probably want not tune into that. Interesting. Yeah, I thought they would have a... Huh. Okay, that's, you know, I do apologize. I should have probably had that prep. I thought it would be easy to grab. I thought I would just do it live. Anything on the FAQ? Donation? No, it's not that. Okay, wow. I think it's just FAQ just based on the issues. I didn't even have an issue tracker, so that's, you know, that's fantastic. There they are right there. And again, I should probably join their Discord server. I'm not part of their Discord server, but I'm sure they have a great community there, which I recommend you join. But okay, let's get out of here. Let's minimize this guy and this guy. Let's get MSI Afterburner up here. I have some automation set up here too. Again, this is I'm not trying to prolong the video, but I recommend you. Oh, right. I've disabled Riva from accessing the internet, so that's what that is. You can just ignore that. But on here, because I'm recording, it's seeing 210. Like usually, it would clock down to 200, the way that it should be, not 2010. But yeah, let's go to settings here. I recommend you do this. Just makes your life a little bit easier. Go to profile, set up something for your 2D and for your 3D, and it will just pick that up when it sees active software or when you're recording. So let's go ahead and minimize this, and let's launch. I'm gonna get my controller here. Okay, controller is ready, and boot with custom configuration. Give me 1 second, folks. My mouse became unplugged, so just hang on. Okay. And I usually have headphones on, so I think my inputs are all disabled. Yeah, they are. So hang on. Let me just get some sound on this PG27. Enabled. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and let's get the OSD. Sorry, when I played PS2 emulators, I disabled the OSD, so I was doing that a little bit earlier. So, oops, this guy hurts. Let's do show on. Okay. Normally, I would play in full screen like this, but just for the sake of the video, I'm just gonna minimize here so that you guys can. There we go. And see what's going on. Keep your eye on the OSD here. Just as you can see, the 60 frames for anything that's pre-rendered in engine. So this is a pre-rendered in engine scene. And then I'll start brand new. It's the hardest part, especially for God of War. I know some other games when you go to testing, you have to get to a certain point. For this emulator and for this particular game, right in the beginning is all you need. If you get past the first 20 minutes, the rest of the game is pretty smooth sailing. So let's go over that. There's a bit of a delay from the voice in the pre-cut. I personally haven't noticed. They mentioned it in the notes. My eyes haven't noticed anything. I noticed it in some of the other scenes later on in the game, but in the beginning it's just fine. Again, I'm gonna hit skip on this. As you can see, we're now going to end engine and it's recompiling shaders. The more it does that, the easier the game runs, the more smooth it is. You can see we're in the 47s, 50s. In the beginning, when the first time I ran this game, I was I don't know, I was in the 20s. Keep in mind, I'm also recording with OBS. Usually you don't want to be recording with OBS and playing this game, but I mean, it's playable. Frame pacing is a bit horrible, but again, once you get into it and you start playing, I haven't noticed anything. I'll do some particles and I'll try to show all the effects and so on and so forth. Oh, I'm missing something more. Wow. I don't know what's going on. Okay, let's do that again. Emulation, baby. Name of the game. Anyways, let's there we go. I don't know why I didn't trigger that scene. I was like, But yeah, again, CPU is still running very, very stable for what it is. Like it's not really record and edit in gaming chip. You can do some light editing with it. Nothing too fancy with in regards to effects, but you can do some. But yeah, it's. I wish I had my 5950X, but yeah, this chip is not bad. It's doing it again. This was a lot more smoother with the 5950X. I was getting anywhere around these intense scenes. It was anywhere between 55 to 60. We will get that later on in the game, but and this is probably a better demo because the 5700G is probably a better CPU most people have than the 5950X. But yeah, the more powerful the CPU, the better for emulators. It's not like regular gaming. Don't get me wrong, GPU is involved, especially when it comes to rendering, of course. But the CPU is intensely heavy because it's doing a lot of, it's doing the draw calls on top of the emulation, my understanding of it anyways, and a few other things. So yeah, the CPU is heavily taxed. You need to have a stable system. It needs to be incredibly stable. So I can't stress that enough, especially if you're looking to record and do emulation on the same chip. As we're starting to slow down here in the 30s. Oh, looks like. Alright. But yeah, I'll go through this first part here so you guys can get. Yeah, I remember this was legendary when it first came out. This whole scene, like the cinematography, the way it extends through the arm and it goes. Yeah, it's. Oh, just got wrecked. That's okay. We got lots of health. Okay, and he's down. So I mean, you guys get the idea. Like it's playable, very playable, I would say. Even while recording on OBS, on the same chip. I don't have a dedicated card or anything, like a Blackmagic or anything like that. And let's bust this. So I can't swear on YouTube, but yeah. And I think he's gonna jump here, right? And okay, cool. Okay. So you guys get the idea. I'm gonna stop it here because how long is this? Oh god, yeah, 35. I'm gonna stop it here. I think it's. You know what? So hang on. I think it's worth showing. So that's a hard area. That's as bad as it will get if you tune this right. Let's go to an area where. What's an area? that's like closed off, I guess. Because I want to show like what it can look like in these kind of closed areas. Yeah, let's go to the Poseidon's chamber, because like I'm looking for a fight too. I don't want to just kind of show static. Honestly, yeah, I think the Aphrodite's chamber is probably going to be the best test. It's probably going to be a 40-minute video, but that's fine. I know people are not going to watch all 40 minutes of it, but I think it's important to show all this. So who knows? Maybe someday I'll get big in the videos. Because yeah, right now my click to my CTR, my CRT. Sorry, I forgot that acronym. But my click to impression or whatever the rate sucks. I guess I'm not very entertaining. I know. I get it, but yeah, so this is over here is an area where, like, I don't know if you guys noticed while I was coming up, rock solid 60. In most areas will be like this when it's closed off. So that's, you know, this is where it can get good. Or sorry, sorry, I'm trying to record and talk at the same time. This is as good as it can get. I think I've already smashed her, so hang on. Yeah, I've already smashed her, so I can't smash her again. But let's get out. Let's get out of here. I just want to go to the Minotaur fights. Oh, looks like I failed at the rolls. There we go. We don't need this, but we'll come back for this if we need it. Sick. I'll end it at 40 minutes here. Okay, we have 37 minutes. I want to get to see if I can get to the Minotaur boss fight and beat him in that time frame, but and I've shown this before in shorts, but I'll just show it again, like in you know, I'll go into Ghost of Sparta mode or whatever, or Rage of the Gods mode or whatever. I didn't do that. Again, I'm doing lots of particles, lots of heavy, so you guys can kind of see, like, you can get down to this low during a boss fight. Did I actually do it in under 40? Let's go, 39 minutes. I mean, I guess technically the fight's still not over because of these guys, but yeah, it's... Nice. I actually finished it. Nice. 39 minutes and 24 seconds. I'm going to stop the video here, folks. If you guys really enjoyed the video, you know, comment and, you know, toss me a like and a subscribe would really be appreciated. It's really difficult for me to make these long-form videos for now. But yeah, yeah, I'll leave it here, folks. Take care and have yourselves a great day.